Hello Electroheads! Every now and then a new company comes along and changes the game forever. A company with new ideas and new technology that is so groundbreaking that the world is never the same again. This is the story of a company that did none of those things. But they said that they would, and a lot of rich people believed them. This is the story of Nikola Motors. And you're going to want to make sure you're sitting comfortably for this one because it gets wild. Now, if you've heard of Nikola Motors, the chances are it's because of this car, the Badger, a sexy all-electric pickup truck that was revealed earlier this year. But to get the full picture on Nikola Motors, we need to go way back to 2016. In May of 2016, Nikola Motors revealed itself to the world. Founded by Utah-based entrepreneur Trevor Milton, the company claimed that it would specialize in electric vehicles, electric vehicle drivetrain components, and electric energy storage, just like Tesla. And before Nikola had even made a car, they were already generating buzz because of their name, because of course Nikola Motors is named after Nikola Tesla, like Tesla. That first year, Nikola unveiled two concept cars. The first was the Nikola Zero, an all-electric dirt buggy, and the second was the Nikola One, a 1,000 horsepower truck with a big battery pack and a natural gas range extender. By the way, just so that there's no confusion with our American audience, I realize that in the US this is called a semi or semi, and this is a truck. In the UK, this is what we call a truck or a lorry, and a semi is something else. Don't Google it. Now, Nikola's electric truck was well received when it was first released, but then just 3 months later, something a bit weird happened. Nikola released another press release announcing that the Nikola One would in fact not be an electric truck with a natural gas range extender, it would be a hydrogen-powered electric vehicle. Of course, the tricky thing about that is there are very few places in America or anywhere else in the world where you're able to fill your vehicle up with hydrogen. But Nikola said that it would have 50 hydrogen filling stations up and running by the year 2020. In 2017, the hype for Nikola Motors continued to steadily build. The company announced it would start making electric jet skis. They released the spec sheet for the Nikola Zero ATV and it was totally insane. Seriously, this thing has 5,000 foot-pounds of torque. That's like 6 Porsche Taycan Turbo S's. Nikola even invited a handful of journalists to come and have passenger rides in the Nikola Zero, and they all confirmed that it was totally insane. And this actually led to a lot of the people who'd been very cynical about Nikola in the press publicly stating, maybe we were wrong. Maybe they're legit. Oh, and another important thing that happened right at the end of 2017, a little brand called Tesla launched its own all-electric semi-truck. By 2018, Nikola Motors was an unstoppable hype train. They were posting badass videos of their products featuring the army and guns and women in jean shorts. They were constantly making big, boastful claims about the cutting-edge technology that they had developed. They even shared a video of the Nikola One in action. This video right here, and the caption to this video says, "Behold, the Nikola One in motion." I want you to remember that because we're going to talk about it in a minute. And the promo vids weren't Nikola's only way of generating buzz in the press. They were also constantly picking fights with Tesla, indirectly insulting them in several of their press releases. They even filed a $2 billion lawsuit against Tesla, claiming that they had ripped off the design of the Tesla Semi from the Nikola One. Why were they constantly picking fights with Tesla? Well, my guess is that Trevor Milton thought, hey, if we accuse them of copying us first, no one will realize that we've copied their entire business model and that I'm actually kind of modeling myself on Elon Musk a little bit. Plus, you know what they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity, and having your company's name in the same headline as Tesla is good for business. And sure enough, the investment money flooded in, with Nikola Motors securing $100 million in just one round of investment in 2018. And then things went unusually quiet for a few months, and everyone assumed that the boffins and engineers at Nikola had just gotten their heads down to deliver all of these fancy products we'd been promised. You know, the ATV, the Army ATV, the jet ski, and the big truck. But the next time we hear from Nikola Motors in 2020, guess what? They're unveiling a new vehicle. It was called the Badger and it was a huge hit. Remember, for most people, this was their introduction to Nikola Motors. It was probably your introduction to Nikola Motors, and it was a badass looking 900 horsepower electric super truck, which to many people, including me, was much more appealing than the Cybertruck. The only slight teeny tiny detail was that it wasn't real. There wasn't a concept car, there wasn't a prototype, there were just a couple of render images. But nonetheless, the pre-orders came flooding in. In June of 2020, the madness finally peaked. Nikola Motors went public, and for a brief moment, the company that had never put a car into production was worth $30 billion. Or if you prefer, more than the Ford Motor Company. A couple of months later, Nikola announced a lucrative deal with General Motors, who had agreed to manufacture the Badger. And 2 days after that deal was announced, 2 days after, the bubble finally burst. On September 10th, 2020, an investigative short-selling company called Hindenburg Research published a report on Nikola Motors. And it was bad. Like, bad. It stated that Nikola Motors was an intricate fraud built on lies, that Trevor Milton had persistently lied to both the public and his investors about the progress his company was making and the technology it had access to. It essentially stated that Nikola Motors fell short on all of its technology claims. The company basically consisted of a few fancy render images and a big pile of investment money, which they planned on paying other companies to make their cars for them using their technology. My favorite part of the report is the bit where they accuse Nikola Motors of faking that 2018 video of the Nikola 1 in motion. Faked how? Well, do you remember that big flat road that the truck was driving across? Not so flat, actually. What they did was tow a completely non-functional prototype up a hill and roll it down and just go like that with the camera, not joking. And Nikola has since defended this claim by saying, and I'm not making this up, well, we said it was in motion, we didn't say it was driving. A few days after the report was published, Trevor Milton stepped down from the company. But don't feel too sorry for him. According to the report, he had already made preparations to ensure that he could extract tens of millions of dollars from the company before leaving. Which brings us to the present day. Nikola's stock price has plummeted and the GM deal is in jeopardy. So if there's a moral to this story, it's this. Don't get lost in the sauce. Tesla has created a new culture in the motoring world, a culture obsessed with messianic leaders, big spectacular announcements and sexy press events. Of course, the big difference is that Tesla actually backs up its promises. Well, most of them. Well, some of them. Trevor Milton saw the way that Tesla make big announcements for sexy products that they are nowhere near ready to make. They saw the way that we lap it all up, and he saw an opportunity to make a lot of money. Hopefully the motoring industry learn a valuable lesson here about not promising things they can't possibly deliver, and we, the general public, learn a lesson about not getting too excited anytime someone shows us a sexy render of a new electric car. And that, my friends, is the story of Nikola Motors. Let us know in the comments, what do you make of all this? Did you see this coming? Which other new car brand do you think is totally full of shit? Let us know down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you soon.